In the sleepy town of Willow Creek, Oregon, on a crisp October morning in 2024, I swung open my front door expecting the familiar rustle of autumn leaves. Instead, I was met with a surreal sight, a flock of ducks gliding across my lawn, now a shimmering, unauthorized pond. A plastic heron teetered beside my mailbox, half sunk in murky water. My first step forward sent my shoe plunging into a slimy quagmire. Then, a hand-painted sign floated by, proclaiming, Elaine's Tranquility Lagoon, where nature thrives. My name isn't Elaine. This wasn't her property. And as the town's water compliance officer, I hadn't greenlit any pond. This was no accident. It was a brazen act by Elaine, the self-crowned dictator of our neighborhood association, who turned my yard into a personal wetland fantasy. The trouble started 3 weeks earlier at a community meeting. Elaine, with her polished smile and eco-warrior rhetoric, pitched a green revitalization plan to sprinkle serene water features across Willow Creek. It sounded noble, but her glossy presentation hid a darker truth. No permits, a bloated budget, and zero oversight. I sensed her controlling nature. Elaine didn't beautify unless she could dominate. The night before my yard became a swamp, I'd heard an odd hum behind my house. Peering out with a flashlight, I spotted a fresh trench weaving from the association's irrigation system toward my property. Muddy wheelbarrow tracks glowed under the moonlight. By dawn, my lawn was a marsh. Frogs croaked beneath my deck, mosquitoes swarmed, and my rose beds drowned as water crept toward my garage. The local paper hailed Elaine's aquatic oasis, oblivious to its illegality. Furious, I confronted her that afternoon. She was mid-yoga by the water, sipping mint-infused water under an oversized sun hat. "It's for the community," she cooed, dismissing my concerns. "Nature chose your yard." Her smugness was infuriating, but I held back. I'd fight her with facts, not fury. For days, I became a detective in my own home. I photographed the trench, measured water levels hourly, and used a thermal camera to trace the illicit flow. Elaine had built a makeshift dam behind the association clubhouse, funneling water straight onto my land. This wasn't a pond, it was engineered flooding. Meanwhile, she turned my misery into a spectacle, hosting lagoon blessings and duck feeding events. She didn't know her trench sat atop a fiber-optic cable junction. One breach could black out the neighborhood's internet and power. When I learned she'd tampered with the irrigation valve to hard-code my address as the drainage point, I realized her audacity was dangerous. A neighbor tipped me off about her late-night calls, hinting at desperate plans to fix the situation. I submitted a detailed report to the environmental board, knowing a storm was forecast. Elaine's paradise was a ticking time bomb. As the showdown loomed, Elaine doubled down, hiring a dubious wetland expert named Mitch to assess her creation. His flip-flops and blank clipboard screamed fraud, but she paraded him like a scholar. I recorded it all, including the dead goldfish he tried to release. The pond began leaking into my garage foundation, with nitrate levels spiking from fertilizer runoff. Elaine's Sunset Lagoon Gala flyers, promising wine and acoustic tunes on my property, were the final straw. I dug into town records and uncovered a chilling fact. Her trench crossed a critical fiber-optic line and blocked a storm drain. A single rain could flood half the town. I printed 200 flyers titled, "Who Approved This Lagoon?" and slipped them into mailboxes under cover of night. By morning, Willow Creek was abuzz. A viral Reddit post dubbed Elaine, HOA tyrant, her permit-free, quote, vision doesn't need paperwork, memed into oblivion. At an emergency association meeting by the lagoon, Elaine's speech faltered as I stepped forward, badge gleaming. My folder brimmed with evidence. Satellite images proving the pond was on my land, photos of her illegal trench, and emails exposing her misuse of funds. I laid out the violations: environmental negligence, utility risks, and a $75,000 fine looming. The crowd turned on her, demanding answers she couldn't give. The next day, she retaliated, dumping mud on my driveway and sawing down my mailbox. I caught her on camera. A whistleblower sent photos of her trench slicing through a utility box, sealing her fate. I sent everything to the state. Within days, investigators swarmed, taping off the lagoon. Elaine's final peace tea flopped as officials ignored her. A cease and desist letter landed in her hands, and her empire crumbled. The cleanup began as Elaine faced a $180,000 fine and an HOA lawsuit. My garage needed costly repairs, but the association sued her to cover it. At a packed meeting, she was ousted as president, her legacy reduced to scandal. I transformed the site into a legal rain garden with native plants and educational signs, earning a county award. Elaine's house, riddled with code violations, wouldn't sell. Mold crept in, her insurance dropped, and she vanished some say to her cousins in Idaho. My yard bloomed again, and a kid's question about the butterflies reminded me. This was about reclaiming what was right. I placed a sign, "Let the water rise, but never your resolve." What would you have done in my shoes? Was I too harsh? Or did Elaine deserve worse? Should neighbors have a say in shared spaces? Or is one person's vision ever enough? Share your thoughts, like, and subscribe for more real-life dramas.